What's up, konnichiwa? What's up, everybody? It's Ace of Spades, and today, as y'all can see, I'm in a different room. I figured I might start doing my YouTube series of my Zen stuff in this room. So yeah, today we're gonna talk about why there's a lot of conflict in this world and why there's a lot of problems and drama in public schools and all that. So today, as of 2026, we are going to answer one of the world's most complicated problems that have been tried to get fixed for centuries. So today, I'm going to teach you guys some of my knowledge that might be useful for you for the New Year's. Now, my plan was to get this on by New Year's, but it got delayed because I was eating dinner for New Year's. So yeah, but I'm here now. So now we're gonna talk about this. Number one that I'm gonna talk about is we need to acknowledge what causes conflict. Why is it that public school's hard? It's really simple, actually. The reason why public school is very hard is because oftentimes you're worried about fitting in, you want that social interaction, and you're worried that don't like if you don't follow the trends and shit, then you get bullied for it, right? There's probably some kids that are like me who are like, fuck this generation. It's nasty. It's terrible. It's fucked up. And it gets worse and worse every year, which is why I am going to break down the way to use ancient philosophies to your everyday life in modern era. Back then, way back in like the 1600s, Miyamoto Musashi. If y'all remember, I kind of talked about him briefly to y'all about what Miyamoto Musashi would do. And basically, he was a very powerful and excellent samurai. He was a badass. Like, he would manage to kill his enemies with a wooden sword. But that's not what we're really talking about. We're going to talk about his knowledge, his wisdom that he used to basically be like how he was. So, the first thing you need to know is that people always tell you, take it day by day, take it day by day, day by day. I believe that this is kind of wrong. People say focus on the present, worry about the past. Now, I agree. Focus on the present. That's one of the Buddhism rules. Do not dwell in the past, do not dwell in the future, dwell in the present. In other words, what but hate the most, what a lot of therapists, counselors, parents always tell their children is that you have to face your problem. It's always been that tough love mindset. I believe this. People say escaping is weak. Escaping is all that. Hell no. I'm going to tell you why escaping isn't weak. Escaping isn't weak because you're basically, I wouldn't call it escaping. I would call it a spiritual awakening. So right now you're here, right? This hand right here is you, right? This is the society, the terrible drama you go through. If you get away from that society, like this hand, basically you're training yourself. You see, think of it like this. In battle, there were times when armies would lose, right? They would have to retreat, But they didn't retreat because they were scared. They retreated because they were getting stronger. They were going to train to get better. And guess what happens? The war begins again. Who wins? They do, because they trained themselves harder. This is what I believe. People say education is the most important thing. Fuck that. Zen is the most important thing. The reason why Zen is the most important thing is because that's your main foundation to living a successful life. Now, if you're probably wondering why I don't make all those weird, funny, comedy, brain rot videos, because I learned, guys. I'm not gonna put my time of something that is of no use. Basically, same thing with Edgar's, They'll bully you, they'll talk shit. No, 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 6, 7, no, no, no. All of that, right? But basically, one thing that a lot of people, and I think this could really work mainly for middle schoolers, is that oftentimes these Edgars, like everyone in public school nowadays, you could live in Texas, Arizona, anywhere in the States. They believe that you have to act like a gangster, that you have to act like a troublemaker, that you have to act all badass and tough because you need to be on top of everybody and worry about your social status and your reputation. That's all bullshit. That's a bunch of bullshit obstacles that are getting away with what you truly want to do. Let me ask you something. Do you really want to be an Edgar? Do you really want to get TikTok? Are views really that important to you? No. Why? Because views are nothing. Views are nothing. Views are nothing. It's nothing of no use. Most of the people who find videos like that are motivational often skip and scroll it because they don't want to hear the truth, because the truth hurts them. I'm going to be honest with you. I have always been against the tough love stuff. Life is hard, the world is hard. But people don't really explain why the world is hard. They just say, don't give up, follow your dreams. But they don't say the why. What's always been missing is the why. Why? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? In the Buddhism, plain and simple, Steve Hagen always said, as Buddhists, we always want to know the why. For example, why did that bird fly in the sky? How did it get there? All of that. People forget the why. People just automatically assume, but they don't really get in depth. Why? Because they think it's a waste of time. But little do they know that if you start worrying about the why, you'll be more successful. Miyamoto Musashi would always isolate himself. People always say isolation's bad. If you're going homeschool or online, you're weak. No, you're not. If you're doing online school, like with no classmates, just a computer face to face with you, you are blessed, my guy. Whoever you are, you're blessed if you have that, because if you're in public school, you don't know how hard we have it in public school. I feel like parents always try to understand why school's hard, but they never really ask. They just always throw the no excuses cards. Unlike us, Buddhism, for the ancient times, one thing that makes this modern society so fucking stupid is, where the hell is the why? Where's the why? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is this happening? Why this? Why that? Why that? Right? And then people often get triggered saying, you're just making noise, you're being annoying, it frustrates people. Why does it frustrate people? Because they don't want to know the truth. They are afraid of the truth. The truth is the way of life. Without the truth, then there's no answer, right? Without the why, how are you gonna answer that theory, It's basically plain as simple knowledge that little people forget. People like businessmen, billionaires, everything. Edgars, all of those kids. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're a kid, if you're a teenager, question your parents sometimes. Why? Because they're gonna tell you, but are you really learning, or are you just listening to them make noise and then move on with your day? That's why I believe you always gotta question, even if it triggers people. Question. Why? Because you're trying to be successful. You're sacrificing your everything to be successful. Another thing, too, limiting social media. Believe it or not, social media is the main cause of suffering in this world. Social media has these dumb challenges, all these dumb ass things, right? But what people don't realize is that these things are of no use. Like Musashi said, do nothing that is of no use. If you have a path, if you have a goal, you practice on your goal on your free time. If you are watching the social media or anything, I advise you, don't limit screen time, but try to find shit that's actually productive, that will actually teach you something, that you will actually learn. Oftentimes, these brain rot kids don't want to learn anything. Why? Because they don't give a shit about their life. I bet half of these Gen Alpha kids who are like little iPad kids are gonna realize 17 years down the road, oh fuck, I messed up. I shouldn't have done that. Look at me now. I'm homeless. I'm poor. Why? Because they didn't care about their future. They didn't care about what they wanted to do. They just wanted to make it all fun and games. People always say life isn't fun and games. It isn't. The only the only exception of life being fun and games is if you're a child. If you're 5, if you're 6, if you're 7, if you're 8, whatever the hell it is, if you're still a child, then yeah, it's all fun and games. Why? Because you don't got any responsibilities, It's all fun. This is something that parents always mess up. That really gets on my damn nerves. Let's say you're a parent. Like, for those of you who are parents, I want y'all to know, if you have a kid, a baby, once they turn 5, do me a favor. Don't tell them that people are gonna like you at school. Be truthful, because if you lie, that's one thing I hate about parenting. Is oftentimes parents lie because they're afraid of their kids being depressed. But if you don't answer them, if you don't tell them the truth about life, they're gonna be stuck in a fantasy. That's what I realized when I grew up. I was stuck in a fake ass fantasy. I was stuck in a blurry ass picture. But now I see the big picture. I have the wisdom. I can see what the world really is. People and parents and old people always tell teenagers, who are gifted like us, oh, you don't know shit about the world. Yeah, yeah, bullshit. I've learned a lot about the world. I've been in school for a lot. Yeah, maybe I don't know all about the world, but I know all about the world when it comes to school, right? If you get what I'm saying, y'all. That's the main issue that I hate, is that people always think they're smarter, that they know their shit when they don't. It's what gets on my nerves. It's like, if you have a teacher, these teachers don't give a fuck about anything. I'm gonna tell you all what teachers' mindsets are. Do the work or fail. But they don't really ask you, hey, are you okay? Fuck no. They just want you to turn in their work. That's why I feel like a lot of kids are failing in school, because these teachers in high school and middle school are too hard on them. Now, yeah, elementary school people, these teachers, I say, I'm not gonna baby you. You don't need to baby your students. That's where you're wrong. You don't baby your students, but at least motivate them. At least ask them if they're fine. Be more therapeutic. Oh, but that's not my job. That's the parents' job. Yeah, that, because most of these parents nowadays don't do their fucking job. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. Most of these parents don't do their fucking job. That's why these teachers have to do it. If I was a teacher, I would be understanding, bruh. I would understand you. If you were my student, I'd sit down with you. And then you're saying, hey, I'm sorry I was late. Most of these teachers always throw the I don't want to hear excuses card. Why? Because they don't care about you. They just want the money. There's very, very, very little teachers that actually care about you, that actually, are worried for the, word. They're worried about their students' their sake. That's the only word I could think of. So basically, the reason why people fail, they always think it's always been social media and stuff. Hey, teachers, if you're watching this, let a kid be a kid. Stop treating them like an adult. Yeah, they're teenagers. Yeah, they should think like big boy, big girl, but guess what? If you fucking say that shit, you're gonna cause them more suffering. You don't know what the fuck your students are going through. You don't know jack shit. If you were a loving, nurturing teacher, like a parent figure, that would be better. That's what I think the school needs. We need more teachers that are nice and nurturing. We don't need strict teachers. I believe strictness causes suffering. When you're strict with someone, you're giving them hell. When you give them hell, they're gonna probably have a lot of bad mental issues like suicide or depression, or feel like they're worthless. Why? Because those teachers are treating them like shit. And that's what breaks my heart, is that a lot of these teachers don't care about anything but their money. They just want you to do your job. They think of you as slaves. You're my slave for the next 4 hours. You either do what I say, you go to the principal. I'm not putting up with it. Like, bro, you know how hard it is? You know why kids are acting up? Because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know their shit. You don't know their trauma. You don't know what's happening to them. Ask them. Ask them. Be genuine with your students. Be nice. Be like, hey, little Jimmy. Hey, little Bobby. Hey, little Susie. Are you alright? You good? Like, what's wrong? Talk to your students, bro. Be a supportive teacher. And I know that all of these damn teachers that will probably watch this are gonna comment being like, oh, but, I'm doing my job. It's the kids. It's the. You know why they don't want to work? Because they're suffering. They're going through hard shit. That's why there's a lot of fights, why there's a lot of troublemakers. Because a lot of these teachers don't ask these kids what the hell is going on. They say it's not my job. Why? That's the guilt trip card. When someone says a guilt trip card to you, basically they're just saying, I don't give a fuck about you. Just do what I say or else. Basically, like the Holocaust. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm sorry for bringing up the Holocaust, but that's how it feels like in school, like the Holocaust, because these teachers are so harsh. And teachers always try to force parents to be harsh on their kid. Hell no. If I have a teacher in my student, my son, my daughter, whoever is treating my blood, my flesh like shit, fuck no. Fuck no. I'm not gonna let that slide easily. I'm not gonna do that. You talk about my kid like that, you talk about me like that. You disrespect my kids, you disrespecting me. You saying that that kid is a bad example for me? Hell no. I did whatever the fuck I could to raise my child. It's not my fault they turned out like this. It's the life. The life is hard. That's what I feel like people don't get. Teachers always blame the parents. But have there ever been a teacher that has actually been genuine? Like, hey, like, can you explain to me what's wrong and stuff? Yeah, but what another thing is, even when there's teachers like that, there are more problems. Like a kid being like, oh, like I'm suffering. There's a lot of kids who have been suicidal at school. And studies have shown that the most suicidal thoughts come from public school because of how hard the school system is. I hate how these teachers are. I hate modern day teachers. They don't care about anything. They're just like, work, work, work. If you don't work, you're going to the office. Like, bro, there's a reason why they don't work. It's not because they're making excuses. Like, bro, what if they have a sibling or something? They can't do their homework, right? Then they say, that's not my problem. Why? These teachers don't want to do shit. These teachers don't give a fuck about anything. All these teachers they think they're on top, like they're the Queen of England, the King of England, the next dictator, the next whatever the fuck you want to call it. And basically make it seem like that person is in the wrong when they're not. There's reasons why kids are disrespectful to teachers. Because you're being disrespectful to us. People always say treat others the way you want to be treated. But people misinterpret this quote a lot. Okay? Here's the damn truth about that quote we learned in fucking kindergarten. Treat others the way you want to be treated. If someone's treating you like shit, you throw it back at them. Why? Because, hey, I don't like how you're treating me. I don't like how you're treating me. That person needs to know to stop. Otherwise, if you don't say anything, if you just still be respectful, they're not gonna change. You have to throw your foot down. You have to put your foot down, bruh. If you don't put your foot down, it ain't gonna change. You're gonna be stuck in the same hell, the same pit, the same suffering, the same dukkha, the same stress, whatever the hell you wanna call it. And you're still gonna be failing. Why are kids failing? That's the biggest fucking question. Why are kids failing? Oh, because they're lazy? No. It's not because they're lazy, because we actually have a life, okay? We actually deal with hard shit that none of y'all adults understand. Y'all adults think that you're all in power with us, right? I'll be honest with you. I'm not disrespecting adults. There's genuine adults that are nice as shit, but I'm talking about them ignorant adults that think they can bitch your ass all the fuck they want because they hate their fucking life. I know that's what's true about the teachers, right? Now, I know what I'm saying is a lot of weight for us to carry, so I'm going to take a little moment to ring the bell so we can close our eyes, breathe in and out, okay? All right. So, now we're going to talk about Number number 3. How do we deal with these problems? It's really simple. Instead of questioning, actually no, question, but not in school. When you're in school, be observant, watch, notice your surroundings. What do you see? How is the system like? If you just be quiet and like you just observe, you can see how the school system is, right? This is one thing that I hate about school. The system nowadays is very, very corrupt. It's very messed up, treats you like shit. And whenever you're getting bullied, that person who's bullying you makes themselves look like the victim because they don't want to get their ass in trouble because they're not mature enough to face their own fate. They want to put their bad fate on someone else, and it always works. Why do you think I always get pissed and why I used to cuss at my principal? Not because I didn't like how they took care of the situation. They didn't take care of shit. The conflict kept happening. That's what people don't realize is that these Edgars are so good at lying. We need to learn the tactics, okay? That's where I'm gonna put the next tip. Learn the tactics. What are the tactics that these Edgars use? Be observant, like I said. Be observant. What do you see? Oh, this guy's tactic is lying, making me seem like I'm the bad guy. Okay, that's good. How do you fix that? That's the next step. I'm gonna to put it in 3 words. AIR. Air. Acknowledge what's happening. Okay? Acknowledge. Engage. And reasoning. Yeah. Hold up. You know what? Let's just not put it in words. So we'll start with A. A is acknowledge, right? O, we'll do O as observe, and then I as interpret what's going on. So basically, it's basically like these easy steps. So yeah, basically what it is: interpret, acknowledge, observe. It's all that. It's what it's always been. People often misconcept that if you interpret or if you ask questions that you're doing wrong. You're not doing wrong if you're asking questions. You're doing the right thing. Why? Because you are acknowledging what people are telling you, You're questioning. Why? Basically, like in reading, there's always, the who, what, when, where, and why. That doesn't only just work in reading. It works in life. Who did this? Why is this happening? But we don't worry about all of the who, what, when, where, why. We only worry about the why. Take out all the other things and just have the why. That's the key to life, the why. Ask why this is happening. Ask the reason behind it. Ask. Even if it annoys people, you're doing whatever the hell you can to be successful. Anyways, back to another thing. Running away is okay. Now, I wouldn't really necessarily call it running away. I would call it a spiritual retreat. So basically, the drama gets hard on you, right? It's bugging you, We often have a limit. We're human beings. We all have limits. What we do is that when we have a limit is that we, fuck, my hair's in my way. What we do is that we give ourselves some space, to cool down. It's like when you're in an argument, you get pissed, you walk out. That's smart. You walk out. Same thing with drama. Walk away from the drama. Don't deal with the drama. Even though it might be getting to you and you're like, oh fuck, I want to do something. The only thing you can do is retreat. You fought well, or you try to fight. Your army got defeated. What do? You go back to train. To be more powerful, to be more stronger, to be more badass, to be more tough. Once you master that, then you can push back to the present moment. You can, in other words, don't be afraid to add pauses to stuff, okay? The main important thing, there's a bunch of things to survival. I'm gonna break it down in 3 things. 1, physical health, mental health, and interpretation. So basically, what's the interpretation of what's happening, Why is it happening? How is it happening? All of that, right? Like I said, the who, what, when, where, and why. The reading thing, man. These teachers in elementary, it might seem like these are worthless, but if you really think about it, you don't even have to use those in only academics. You use that in everyday life too. It's all about questioning. If you question why it's happening, then that's good because you're realizing you want to see the big picture. That's the main thing that is a gift that people don't realize. If you're wanting to see the main picture, if you're wanting to protest, there's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't call it protesting. I wouldn't call it being fucked up. The society is fucked up because the society doesn't want to escape their little bubble. They don't want to leave their fantasy. But you do. You want to know why it is what's happening. You want to know why you're doing this. You want to know why everything works the way it does because we're humans, We have questions, The way to succeed in life is to find the answers of life. It's always been about Blue's Clues. Now I'm bringing up Blue's Clues because it's all about solving clues. It's all about the thinking chair. It's all about all of that. You see, this is what people didn't realize about that show, Blue's Clues. You would find clues. He would ask questions, You would find the paw prints, right? The answers are the paw prints. Your brain is the handy-dandy notebook. All right? And the thinking chair is also your mind. You think. You reflect. Always reflect on what's happening right now. For example, ask. Like, let's say you're in a room or something, right? Let's say you have windows. Observe the city. Why does it look this way? Why is there birds flying? All that, right? Ask these questions to practice working on asking these questions when it comes to, success, because asking questions is success. Another thing, do nothing that is of no use, which means don't worry about social media right now. Focus on finding the answers to life. If you can find the answers to life, you can be more successful. No one has ever found the answers to life because they're afraid. They're afraid that it might be something bad. But who knows, whether good or bad, as long as you have the answers, as long as you know the truth of life, the true meaning, you're chilling, all right? So yeah, guys, that's gonna wrap up my advice to y'all. I hope y'all can use this as a strategy to help you if you're either at school or a job or just navigating life. I hope this video will help you. I hope y'all have a good rest of your week. Peace.